Hello everybody, my name is Up, and today I will be showing you my Bowazon build for Project Diablo 2, Season 2. And today is day 5 of the new season. So let's go ahead and start showing you some of the gear that I acquired here over the last 5 days. I did find a Bowazon pretty early into the season. I did corrupt it for enhanced damage and traded for a Larzik puzzle box for 3 open sockets. The shell runes are for hitting the next IAS breakpoint or helping to get there because it is naturally pretty slow. Valkalm, pretty crappy one to start, but it is the beginning of the season. I need it as a stepping stone. There is a Jewel of Fervor in there for 15 increased attack speed. Crappy amulet because surprisingly I have not found something better yet. Goblin Toe, which I just found shortly before making this video. It did corrupt for all res instead of cannot be frozen, which is unfortunate, but I'll take the all res as it is a squishy build and you can only take what you can get, I guess, right? So a couple of life leech rings. I would prefer dual leech. Not really sure what best in slot is. I'll have to look that up. I didn't do a ton of research on this character. I just started building her and going off what I thought was the best. Gold wrap for IAS, and the 30 MF is kind of nice. I don't really have a lot of MF on this build. She will be ultimately just mapping once I get her more geared. Laying hands, fantastic gloves for this build. I'd like to get another couple of pairs and try corrupting them for IAS. So with multi-shot, I'm doing 4150 max damage, and then guided arrow 4285. Definitely tons of room for improvement here. As I develop this character further, I will eventually want to go with a Wind Force with max open sockets or an ED corruption and what is it, 4 or 5 open sockets I believe it can roll with the Larzik puzzle box. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't show the armor. So this one was kind of interesting. This is Crocaw. I'm not sure if this changed with PD2. I don't remember ever picking this item up and being like, oh, this is pretty cool. So I imagine they changed it with this mod. And it's pretty solid, actually. I did put a Jewel of Fervor in there once again to help with the IAS. Everything else came with the armor, so I mean that checks a lot of boxes there. Adds a Pierce if you don't have the Bowazon, IAS, ED. Open the wounds is definitely nice, and 15 dexterity. I mean that's pretty hard to beat early on in the season unless you get something pretty godly, right? I haven't seen any Material Might, so. The charms I'm not gonna really waste too much time on. It's day 5. They're all pretty crappy. It'll get there. It'll get there with time. Um, so this is kind of what I'm rocking with for the FHR. IAS is at 225. I haven't played the Bowazon in a very, very long time. So someone was nice enough to send me a link of the calculator, but even then, I forget what the breakpoint was. I believe it's like 213, because once I take this off, it goes to 210. You put it on, and you hit your next breakpoint, so it's like right around there. She does pretty well with this breakpoint. I imagine you want to try and hit the last one, which is like 299. That's not easy to achieve, but it can be done. So that's where I am with that. Skills might need a little bit of an explanation. Not too much. I mean, that they're all pretty generic when it comes to these builds. You want to max critical strike. Pierce is for non-Bowazon bows or crossbows. Bowazon has a 100% chance to pierce, so you do not need to put anything into this other than the prerequisite to go into penetrate. I do recommend putting as many points in a penetrate as you can, as it is huge to add negative to target defense, and the extra attack rating is huge as well. So I'm going to respec at some point to put more points into this. You don't have a lot of defensive options, so evade and dodge is very nice. I was experimenting with this. I did max mod just to see how it would do. I did respec once. I started off with putting about 10 to 16 points into Valkyrie, and that was really good for mapping and dealing with a lot of enemy mobs that you can't deal with on your own or with your mercenary. So I may put more points into this and take a couple out of these, and I made a mistake in bow and crossbow skills, and I'll show you in a second. So you put one into your magic arrow, prerequisite, good for dealing with phys immunes. Multi-shot, this is going to be your primary skill that you're going to be using for this build. Guided arrow for dealing with some of the immunes and a lot of the bosses. Some people like to put into cold arrow. I'm not a big fan of the skill. It does help. It depends on your preferred playstyle. I put too many points into guided arrow here, and that's where my mistake was. You do not need to do that. It may help clear bosses and a couple of elites out here and there a little bit quicker, but it's definitely not necessary. So I would take those points and I would put them back into either Valkyrie or you put them into Penetrate. And if you're running a bow that doesn't have enough Pierce, then you want to put into Pierce. And that's generally how you're going to play this build. And I think that's kind of the cookie cutter, and you have a small preference on what you can do. Um, Small explanation on the stats. Enough strength to equip any of your armor, weapons, whatever you need. Um, Dexterity, I put 292 in because I like having a little bit more health than a lot of the other players that are out there doing the glass cannon builds. Not a big fan of getting one shot. I know 702 doesn't seem like much, but it's enough to at least not die in one hit most of the time. So I do plan on putting more points in both of these. Not quite a quality build, leaning towards a higher end damage, but not going all in glass cannon. Just not a fan of that style. So I will be bringing up my resistance up as well. I want survivability. It is a run and gun build. You run into a really hot area and you're just gonna get smoked. So at least that's what I believe. Maybe it'll change once I get the wind force and everything's a little bit different. Um, Here's my mercenary. She's doing pretty well. I have some CBF boots on her that I corrupted myself. Nothing too fancy. Gets the job done though. Steel skull for the IAS, and just overall pretty decent item with the leech on there. And then everything else, just because I could. That's all I had. I did find this Bowazon. I did corrupt it for the ED and attack rating. Um, I may end up Larzicking this and then trading it at some point, probably relatively soon because I'm going to be gearing towards making the Faith Bow next. I really need that Fanaticism aura to help out with the IAS and the extra damage. So that covers the basics of this build. I'm sure you guys have seen this all over the place. It's quite popular. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you a couple of the MFing spots that I've been doing early on to kind of help myself out here. She is able to map right now. I've ran probably 4 or 5 maps. It's just really slow because I haven't found enough gear to make her more efficient. But if you want to map, you can, especially if you have a similar setup. There's plenty of options to do that kind of stuff. And if you guys are interested, I will make a separate video showing you starter bows and starter equipment to really get you by until you can find your GG gear for mapping and finding your higher end MFing spots. But I do like to run Eldritch and Shank as part of my daily routine. Then I'll go and do Pindle, and then I'll usually do Chaos, and I'll end up with Cows. When I'm not doing that, I am mapping. Once again, it is slow, so it's a little bit of an investment, and my time can be spent a little bit better instead of spending an hour or 40 minutes maybe to do a map. Let's go ahead and show you Chaos. If I had more time today, I would show you a map with this character. Maybe I will have time in my next video if you guys are interested. So let's go ahead and run this. The last time I did this, I used my Valkyrie, which is extremely helpful when you're this early on in the season. You can send her out to kind of grab the aggro of the mobs, and you just sit back and spam your multiple shot, and it just wrecks it. And God forbid it dies, you just cast another one. Not a big deal. The mercenary, I grabbed her for the vigor. I mean, having the faster run walk is just incredible. I love zooming around the map. It's lots and lots of fun. As much as I like the teleport characters, I mean, there's just something satisfying about zipping around the map at crazy speeds. Very entertaining to watch and play with. So, as you see, we got a physical immune here. Just kind of dance around them. Just hit them with guided arrow. I could hit them with magic arrow as well, but doing alright. So for being early on, 4150 doesn't seem like a lot of damage for multiple shot, but it gets the job done. When in doubt, you can fire off a couple of guided arrows to help clean up the mob, or if there's an elite in there, such as this guy here, just throw a couple in there. Just be wary of any of the cold enchanted ones, because they're going to have that aura. So you want to stay a little far back. I play pretty aggressive with most of my builds, so I'm used to being up in the face of the enemy. Yeah, point right there, I guess, right? That's what the thawing potions are for. Especially where I came off playing the Wind Druid, where you telestomp just about anything. That was the main strategy for that build, so still trying to break out of those bad habits. So I am still learning quite a bit about this character. I found her to be an absolute joy to play so far. I'm happy I went with this build. I usually only do one character per season so I can properly min-max them, which so far I found it takes about two and a quarter months to really min-max all the way one character, unless you're extremely lucky or have more time to play this game than I do, which, God, I wish I did. But, you know, there's family and life outside of the game, so, I mean, you can only spend so much time. So, as you can see, she's doing pretty alright. For being 5 days into the season, she can clear chaos at a pretty good rate. I do kind of miss my Valk here. Instead of running around like a maniac here, I could just throw her in front of this mob here. And I could just sit and just peg these guys, and might actually be a little quicker. I'm not sure. I haven't actually tried timing it before. It's been more focused on trying to find stuff than paying attention to the times of my clear speeds as of right now. But, well, if you guys do enjoy this video, what I can do is I'll do a cows run, and then I'll do a couple of maps so you can see how well she does this early on. You are absolutely at the mercy of what kind of gear you can find early on and what kind of crafts you can make, which, if you haven't tried the crafting system, you are truly missing out. There's some really good stuff you can make. It helped carry me through the entire game up till this point. So I highly recommend it, looking into that one. Who knows, it may be better than the Bowazon in some categories. And would you look at that, I needed those. And they're better than the ones I'm using. Well, I'll take that. Well, maybe what I'll do is at the end of this video, I'll corrupt the ones I'm wearing, see if I can get some IAS on them. So, another Fizz immune. So, oh, and he's got the strong stone skin. Alright, let's see how Magic Arrow does on this guy. And this is what I mean, this guy is up my ass right now. Not too fond of that. See, this is where the Valk is fantastic, and you'll see it do better elsewhere as well, especially in the maps. You deal with guys like this all the time, and they're just like on you constantly, so it's good to have the aggro drawn off you. But same strategy, just kind of run them in circles, peg them with magic arrow or guided arrow until you get them all the way down. He's fire enchanted, so stay away in case he explodes, and that is that. So back to guided, and let's go up here. Actually, I've been pretty fortunate. I came in today and the servers were having some issues, so I went and did a couple of errands, came back, they were back up. And the main servers I normally run were actually up and running with a decent ping, so I just kind of stuck with it. I imagine the devs are going through hell with those servers, but I can truly appreciate the work that they've put into this mod, and I will continue to support them as much as I can. I do thoroughly enjoy this. Wow, there's a lot of Fizz immunes this time around, huh? That's alright. Nothing we can't handle. I'd be interested to see if there's any people running the soul drainers with the fizz pierce on them. That was pretty cool. Oh, so I guess I won't be finishing that, and that also means I lost those laying of hands, but no big deal. It happens, guys. So see what happened here, and they're gone. That's all right. Well, you got an idea of how the build works. You didn't need to see the rest of that. Um, well, that's how they go nowadays. Well, guys, I wish I could have finished that chaos run, and kept those laying hands. Probably should have saved and quit, but it is what it is, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments below. Um, I know I've said this before, but I'm not a big YouTuber or anything like that. Never tried to be, but if you guys do enjoy my content, I will try to make more videos more frequently. Other than that, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.